I'm gonna go behind them because they are in front of us. You know, they sacrifice their time, their reputations to be out here to speak to you and be open and available to you, despite being told not to. Unfortunately, at the Chicago Transit Authority, we are under an iron fist of control and union busting, and we have to take initiative to step out and speak up, and this is what they're doing. So I first want to introduce to you, this is Brother Andre Thompson, okay? He's a retired bus operator. He retired out of 103rd Street Garage. Also a former union rep, a local 241, Amalgamated Transit Union. And I just want to say, this man, he inspired me. So if it wasn't, you know what? Yeah. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here talking with y'all. This is one of the baddest brothers. He is so revolutionary and so free thinking. And he cares so much about his coworkers and the riders. And he is banned in his own union. He is banned by the local 241 president because he tells the truth about what's going on. He doesn't cover it up. I just love Brother Andre. They call me the boogeyman because I'm real scary. You know, whenever I show up, they're like, what do we do? What do we do? This is the original boogeyman right here. Now right here, this is majesty before us. 30 years? 20, almost 30. So I'm just going to say almost 30. Nicole Williams, bus operator, out of 103rd Street Garage. Very active union member, Chicago Transit Justice Coalition organizer, and also can I say it?
No.
Okay. But I really hope you're going to see a lot more of her in the public. I think you will, but okay, I'll stop. Okay, Robert Thomas. Robert Thomas right here is a pillar, Chicago Transit Justice Coalition, bus operator, unjustly fired at the Chicago Transit Authority. Outspoken union member, outspoken. I love this brother. He is bold. He makes signs that make fun of the CTA mismanagement and all the bootlicking, boss-loving youth boss agents in our unions. And we are fighting to get his job back. Thank you for coming, brother. Sister Kathy, longtime CTA worker, outspoken union member, dedicated member of the Progressive Labor Party, PLP, and I'm so honored that she be with us and amongst, I always want to see all the DSAs and the PLPs and everybody at Freedom Road, everybody, just find some common ground. Oh, here comes Eric Slater. Come on, brother, get it.
You want me to sit there?
Yeah, we need and Kathy, I love her so much, and I know you're going to love her too when you hear her speak. Man, another one that keeps me going, says, Eric, it's okay. She and Nicole came over to my house one day, you know, after I was being beat down. They said, Brother Eric, just keep going. Brother Jason, right here, car servicer, works with me at 98 Shop. A bold brother who speaks the truth and so brave to come and be amongst you so you can know what it's like to clean these filthy, disgusting trains. And he does the best he can with nothing. And I'm so glad he's here. Brother Thomas Elliott, my fellow mechanic, railcar repairer out of Kimball's shop, the worst shop in the whole system, has horrible management, that treats the people and abuses the people, violates their rights constantly, violates and spits on their contract constantly. But he came on the midnight shift too. He came to be with you, to answer your questions and to share his experiences. Thank you, brother. All right, this this man right here, a bad man. He's running for my spot, because I'm running for president of Local 308, so he's running for my spot, executive board. But this brother stands for the people. Everybody here stands for the people. But he writes reports, and I help him, and I co-sign him, and we back up our repairers, we back up our services, we back up our operators. And this man, if you want to know about the fiscal cliff and why we're here and what's going on, there you go. Oh, sorry. Damn, Chris. I didn't say your name. Chris Campisi. Now we got Brother Eric Slater. Another brother, been through so much, speaking up for CTA workers in general. This brother has been an executive board member, union rep for Local 241 for many years, was unjustly fired multiple times, and is now unjustly fired for, they say he organized the wildcat strike. He did not. He did not do any of that. So they fired him on that because they were worried he's going to run for president of Local 241. So they had to, find an excuse. So he's here too. So I'm done with that. Are you good? Did I help you out? Yeah. Samantha? Okay. So I don't need to talk, but I know you all got some questions, right? We can go Arthur or Samantha? Yeah. What's our agenda? How would you prefer?
Yeah, I guess I was going to do like an introduction to CTA and campaign and all of that. So, hello, everybody. My name is Samantha. I am not. Okay, there you go. Thank you. So I'm not a CTA worker. I'm a member of Chicago DSA. I'm part of the Fix the CTA campaign. So I wanted to give just a little bit of background on why we chose to do this town hall, and also just sort of like the background of our campaign and the current state of the CTA from just like a fiscal standpoint, and then we'll let the folks from Chicago Transit Justice talk about the worker side. So, on the next slide, thank you. So our campaign was basically brought out of the pandemic times where service was, lagging behind, and we were all just very frustrated, and we kind of joined together to figure out what were the reasons for the dysfunction. And in our first year as a campaign, we met a lot of these people here, like Eric and Robert, and got to know just the background of just how bad working conditions can be in CTA. And so in the years since then, we have been more or less, rallying for pro-worker initiatives. So things like making sure that, at a basic minimum, workers are comfortable when they're at work, which means having access to bathrooms. Another thing that we identified was having a more democratic process within the CTA. So the CTA is governed by a board of 9 people, and all of those people are appointed. None of those people are workers, and so those are just a few of the things that we've worked on in the past. This year, however, we pretty much kind of came up against the fiscal cliff, which has been mentioned before. So I want to go to the next slide. So if you're not aware, the CTA has like a gap of $700 million that they need to meet within the next year. And for every year after that, like the gap will only widen. Chicago and Illinois really, like unlike our peers like in New York and other places, like we don't get funding from the state. We don't get as much funding from the state as other places. And so the Chicago Transit Authority relies primarily on fare box recovery. I think like 50% of their budget relies on that. And something like 15% of their budget comes from state funding. So this has been a problem for like even before the pandemic, but especially like after the COVID relief funds run out, there really is just nothing available. And so you're going to see if nothing changes, we're going to be facing service costs. We're going to be facing things like paratransit for folks who have limited mobility go away, and things like that. And again, this is not new. This has been like years, decades of mismanagement and disinvestment in our public goods, in our public service transit. I'm going to go to the next slide. So, and another thing, so I mentioned like not having state funding. So the last state legislative session met at the end of May of this year, and they, didn't pass any funding for transit, like statewide. So what they did do, what the Senate did was they passed a bill, House Bill 2938, and that bill more or less is supposed to like address like some of the like financial aspects of funding of the fiscal bill. So they want to consolidate PACE, METRA, and CTA under like this new regional transit agency. I think it's called the Northern Illinois Transit Agency, and that would be under the purview of the Office of the Executive Inspector General. They also want to implement a new transit safety task force, and this bill also proposes like additional revenue sources specifically for transit. Like they had a delivery, like a fee on delivery over like a certain amount for like things like Uber Eats and stuff like that. And go to the next slide. But yeah, so this, so that's like a picture of the like proposed changes that this funding bill from the state is proposing. So if you go to the next slide. But yeah, so I think, and we can talk about this later, but just from our conversations before, this solution, while like it is a step in the right direction and it is trying to preserve this public good, it does not have any of the new proposed transit agencies. It doesn't have dedicated spaces for workers on any of the agency boards. There's no like worker input on what a safety task force would look like, and really there's just no protections for workers in this state bill. So yeah, so why are we here? We're here because we all deserve more. CTA riders, all transit riders, and all transit workers deserve more than what we're getting from both the state and also from the local level. We're going to hear from a few of the people on this panel about their experiences working with the CTA. But something that is going to come up is that they're using resources, taxpayer dollars, to more or less harass and target their own employees. In a time where obviously funding is so crucial. The unions on both the train and bus side of the CTA are failing their workers. They're not making their voices heard in these meetings with management, letting them know about the working conditions, the fact that people are getting dismissed or suspended or fired because they're missing work, because they're sick, because their kids are sick, because just anything that might come up. And this is relatively new, but if you haven't heard, the federal administration offered Illinois very specific grants right now to basically give MetroPace and CTA tens of millions of dollars in exchange of, in FEMA funds, in exchange for complying with the Department of Homeland Security, which means possibly seeing ICE on our trains and on our buses and along our routes. And I think we all deserve better than that. We keep us safe, which means not having ICE or any feds accosting people on the places where we get to work, where people are working. So yeah, let's see the next slide. Okay. So yeah, with this preamble, Eric already introduced everybody, but I think for this part of it, with the budget crisis in mind, with all of your experiences in mind, maybe we can talk a little bit more about sort of how, because I think everybody here is some type of CTA worker, so if you could talk maybe about just your experience working with the CTA, how you've seen your experience with the mismanagement, if you could speak to how you've been targeted as well. Yeah, if anybody wants to start this off.
Could we go from Chris this direction?
Yeah, no, sit down, relax. Oh, we can use this one. Oh, no, this is Samantha's microphone here. Okay, there we go.
I'm trying to think what. Can you hear okay? There we go. There's so much going on. I don't even know where to start. But our shops, I want to talk about something that affects both of us, and that is the condition of the train that I work on. I'm a mechanic. We are constantly fighting against management to do our job right, and do our job to where it's not going to affect riders. We have ideas that go to deaf ears. I'll give you an example. In our shop, we came up with a way to keep the hydraulic system that anytime it goes below 20 degrees in Chicago, it just shuts down our whole yards full of trains. They just want us to just continue forever to go out and reset this stuff, cause the delay on that cold day when you're sitting there waiting for a train on a platform, and it seems like it's taking forever. Well, a lot of that has to do with what we know how to fix. We know how to add heaters to the hydraulic system. We know how to correct this problem. Nobody wants to hear from us, and I think that's what but I do want to end with saying thank you for the DSA for getting the ear of the president. We're getting somewhere. She's understanding that there's actually people riding these trains. Now the next step is There's people fixing the trains, and there's people operating the trains, and they're not there yet. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Thanks for bringing that up. I want to start with a similar thing. We're also fighting to do our jobs as well. Like, we're being told we need to rush and skip issues because they're not seen as too high of a priority. And some of them are safety-related issues, some of them are just reliability-related things. But then if those things come back to bite us, like the train comes back a day or two later for the same thing, then that is reflecting on us instead of on, the manager who's trying to get us to ignore that kind of thing. And of course, we're always having issues with equipment in the shop. We never have what we need. It's always personally owned tools and using things wrong, like busted turntables we have to push with a forklift. Crazy stuff like
Dangerous.
that.
That's dangerous.
Sure is. And I just hope things get better before someone gets hurt.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah.
My concern is a little bit different from everybody's. And what's being discussed today is extremely important. But I have a concern about everybody that is here's personal safety when they get on the trains. Especially now, with the climate that we're seeing. And unfortunately, this is just the beginning. We can clean the trains, we can service the trains, but I can't make you stop smoking on the trains. I can't make you stop doing drugs on the trains or drinking alcohol on the trains. The last thing we need is ice on the trains. That's the last thing we need. In this climate that is being played out almost in movie form is something that everyone should be concerned about, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Jew, Gentile, whatever you are. Everybody should be genuinely concerned. When they're talking about millions upon millions of people that's going to lose their health care. What we're talking about is important, but that kind of supersedes the conversation. Because now you're presenting a scenario to people where I can no longer get my medication, or my loved one can no longer get it. What type of options do I have now? Those are conversations that are not being had.
That's right.
Because now, if you're riding the train, minding your own business, but you might happen to have a nice jacket on. And the wrong person might tell you, I need everything you got. Because I don't have anything, and I got just enough to get this medication. And your forced donation to me now is going to help me get through whatever I need to get through. So my concern, as I said in the beginning, is for everyone. So if you do ride the trains, please be careful. If you're getting off the train, getting onto the bus, or getting onto the bus, getting onto the train, or walking home, please look at every way that you can look, and most importantly, be careful. Because what they're not talking about, and this has nothing to do with the CTA, and I know we're here for that, I'm talking more about everybody that's in this room and everybody that's related to the people that's in this room, is your safety. Because what they're not talking about is how high unemployment is and how many people are homeless. Those high numbers lead to high crime.
bringing in the National Guard does not make the high crime go down. Because those same individuals are still hungry, they're still homeless.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Woo. Damn.
Well, my name is Kathy, and I'm retired. I retired after 33 years, and I'm glad I made it.
Came all the way from Wisconsin.
Right. Yeah, I came all the way from Wisconsin on the Metro train, and when I got off the train, what did I see? 4 military police type guys. It said police on their backs. They had camouflage uniforms on. They were not CPD. It wasn't that uniform. I was in the National Guard. It wasn't a National Guard uniform. So maybe it was, like Eric said, border police. They weren't ICE police. Anyway, they are trying to get us to feel like it's normal to have this massive police presence and military police snatching people off of the street and picking up on what has been said about health care for people, lack of jobs, poor wages. In 1984, when I started with the CTA, it was all full-time jobs. Everybody was contributing to the pension. There was a lot of work. There was a lot of overtime. There was far, far, far less harassment, less hiring, less intimidation. And so that's all increased at the CTA, all of that bad stuff. And it's increased for everybody else. Students, unemployed people, homeless people, workers, adult jobs, academic workers, universities, everything. We're under attack because things are moving closer and closer to full-blown fascism, and I don't think we can rely on any of the politicians. The last strikes we had were in 69 or 68 and 79. And that's when I started after those strikes. And Vietnam vets were working at the CTA, and they were not afraid to stand up to these bosses because they grew up during the civil rights, during the movement. So that's what I hope we are on the cusp of a movement of CTA workers for striking, for students for striking. I'm getting chills thinking about it. I hope I live to see it. I'll be 70 in January, and I just hope I'm around to see more unity and militancy and an awareness that it's our class, the working class, against the ruling class. And they come in all kind of parties, Republican and Democrat.
Okay, right here. I just want to introduce you because I introduced everybody else, so I got to introduce you. Okay, this is Brother Uba Light, and he is a bus operator out of Forest Glen. And how many years, brother? 29 years. Okay, 29 years, and he is still working. But this brave brother came to our meeting here to be amongst us revolutionaries. And any CTA worker that does that, I want you to really honor them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'd like to stand up. Like he said, my name is Oberlight. I read a book during my graduate school, and that book says things has fallen apart, and center cannot hold any longer. Written by Chino Achebe.
Yeah.
And Chino Achebe happens to be my mentor, my uncle. That book is read all over the world. Many times, a lot of people may not understand what that book means. It says that things has fallen apart and center cannot hold anymore. Now, how can center not hold? Because people are afraid. People do not take responsibilities. I remember during my own time in Africa, when things were going wrong in South Africa, I was one of those who came out boldly to support and fight on behalf of Nelson Mandela. And escaped 9 assassinations from the opposite. Now, when you look at America, you can see that why a lot of people are coming down to America is because America happens to be a safe place. But right now, My brothers and sisters here, I'm telling you, America is no longer safe. The center cannot hold any longer. The only way the center can hold is only when all of us comes together to make a change. Then the center will hold. Right now, things are falling apart. So I'm here to encourage everybody, not only the leaders, all of us, blue, green, yellow, white, come up. Let us work together so that we will make the center hold. My name is Oba Light. I never given up. All my life has been in fighting for justice. Thank you all, and may God bless everybody.
Thank you, Uba. My name is Robert. I'm a bus operator. Well, I was a bus operator before I was unjustly fired for anonymous cell phone complaint.
Which is against the contract.
Which is against the contract, but they still fired me anyway. CTA right now, even though it has a new president, which we fought for a while to get Dorval out, he just left one 6-figure job to go to a 7-figure job. So he's not really hurt. He doesn't care. And now we got this new president, and she's Mr. Celebrity. She wants to be everywhere, taking pictures with everybody. But CTA is mismanaged poorly. They have too many managers, discipline too many employees. Each garage, we have about 7 garages. Each garage has 3 levels of management. You had a lower transportation manager, then you had a business manager, then you have the senior manager. Each one of those transportation managers make over 100K. And it's about 7 managers at each garage. And all they do all day is discipline. And it's never about corrective action, corrective guidance. It's always about discipline. That's what they spend most of their 8-hour day doing. Discipline, bus operators like me, Nicole. But yeah, it's way too many managers. And if CTA does any cuts, I hope they start with the managers, because that's where it needs to start from.
Hi, my name is Nicole Williams. I'm a bus operator for 28 years. I work mostly over the whole system. The north side, from the north side to the south side. I've been to the west side just a little bit, but not much. But like you guys, my main concern is safety. So I'm a bus operator, so you probably interact with me more than you interact with, train operators, because you get off the train and you come to the bus to get to the location. But in my opinion, I believe CTA is, when it comes to safety, all of our safety, I think they are more reactive than proactive with safety. And that's one of my biggest concerns. I fight for it all the time. It goes unnoticed. Unheard, unnoticed. I did many of things to try to bring attention. They don't pay attention to people who's out in the forefront, like me and you. Like, we voice our opinions about what's going on the buses and trains, and then they go and get a computer and say, don't walk in front of the bus. Well, most of us know not to walk in front of the bus, but I know it happens, but that's not what they should be focusing on. They are reactive. When they get complaints, they just react. Instead of thinking about it, reaching out to you and I to see what we can do better. And that's the biggest problem to me with the CTA, is our safety. And it's going unnoticed. Despite they saying, oh, we do this, we do that. We go to work, we get robbed in CTA parking lots. But you all don't hear about that because that's covered up.
That's right.
We get robbed at gunpoint. We get sick. And then we forced to do things that we don't want to do, and we always get the blame.
That's right.
CTA will blame everything on the workers. Like they say, oh, we can't meet service because the workers don't want to come to work. Well, the workers want to come to work, but under what conditions? Do we have to be dead?
Yeah.
You don't want a bus operator sick driving you, because that's going to be an accident.
That's right.
And when you talk about ghost buses, they don't tell the truth about it, because they sit down town at 567, looking out the window thinking we can stop congestion, but you don't go and read the bus operators to see why are there 5 and 6 buses traveling together. Well, this is why. And it can't really be fixed. It can't really be fixed. They said we're gonna fix it, but it can't really be fixed. Congestion is a big thing. Now, when you riders get on the bus, we have to interact with you guys, right? So you got to pay your fare. You might need some directions or something, right? But it's a lot of things that stop the bus from moving. One being we have ADA. We have to make sure that they're locked in and are okay for us to go on. We have overcrowded buses. We have crimes, defects. It's a lot of things that go into it. But CTA don't tell you that. The first thing they tell you is our operators don't want to come to work. They don't tell you the challenges we go to get out to you guys.
That's
right?
right.
When we start our day, we go get a bus and it's not clean. So we got to get another bus. And it might be behind 10 other buses, so those buses got to move. And we have a small gap to get out the garage to provide their on-time service. So it's a lot of things that go into it. The CTA, again, they react instead of be proactive with it. So, you know, I'm trying to work with them, but it's really, really hard to let the operators help out with that. And the public. We should be sitting on the board saying, yeah, well, you all saying this, but we're saying that.
That's right.
But they don't listen to us or
right.
you guys. So that's one of my biggest things, safety. And just like it's crime, with you guys, operators are getting attacked at an all-time high. No one is talking about that. They will tell about the passengers getting, you know, and that's good, but if your operators is getting attacked, they can't come to work. And that's not because they don't want to come to work. They can't come to work. And then when they want to force them back to work, they're scared, and they want them to come back to work when they're not ready to come back to work. There's a lot of challenges that we go through as operators, train and bus, that the CTA just do not tell. Our union do not tell because they want to keep it covered up. They want to make us the problem. And I don't believe that we're the problem. I believe that we are the solution with the riders.
That's right.
Is what I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
So, just one more thing. Also, when it comes to I believe like we have to work together as operators and riders. Believe it or not, I know we encounter some very, very rude operators, just like we encounter some very, very rude passengers. It is not personal. It is a hard job these days driving the bus. Because, believe it or not, no one really realizes this. I'm driving the bus, right? I got radios playing. I'm looking to make sure the road is safe. It's not that I'm snappy. You know, if you ask me a question, I don't supposed to talk to you while I'm driving, right? But I try to do my best because I'm an operator, right? But sometimes there's just so many things going on. Safety plays a big role in my job for you guys. You guys entrusted me with your lives and I'm driving you on the buses, but you don't realize that it's a lot that goes into that. You know those 60-foot articulated buses? Everybody's so comfortable on that bus, right? But it's a lot going on. I'm sitting in the front and you all can sit in the back, right? I have to watch everything on that bus, everybody, and everything going around us. With a lot of challenges. Now, CTA has rules. No radio playing, no smoking, but they do all that. So I have to be in charge of all that, and then I got to make sure we're safe to get from A to B. So it's challenging. I'm not saying that I can't do it because I did it very well for 28 years. But things have changed, and it's just really hard. I get threatened for a fare, which, to be honest, I'll tell you the truth. If you get on the bus and you say, I don't have a fare, you're not going to get an argument out of me, right? But is that right to you guys who did pay, right? It's not. But if I don't say something, it might not be you, but somebody else will be like, you hear me talking to you? I didn't even say nothing. I'm trying to get everybody where they got to go. But now it becomes a problem. So then the bus has to stop. Then the police have to be called. Those are challenges why the bus can't get up and down the street. Or accidents that happen. The CTA don't say that, but they'll just always say, our employees do not like to come to work.
That's right.
We like to come to work, but we need to come to a safe place to work and be able to do our job as defined in our CBA and qualifications. But we do try very hard. And I know, like I said, I'll apologize for, there are some rude operators, but there are some great operators as well. And we do our best with everything we get. And you might not know what happened at 3 stops back there when I encounter you, but it could have been bad, and I just continue driving because I know you guys trying to get to work. And sometimes it gets so bad, I have to stop because I can't continue anymore. But we are trying our best, and they don't never give us the credit that we do. During COVID, even though most couldn't show up to work, they never congratulate the ones that did. Because we did our best to show up, but we lost
That's right.
members or employees.
Yep.
They didn't talk about that because they don't care. They just care if we show up and move. We work a lot of overtime. They don't give us that. We make up the difference for them, and we don't never get shown appreciation.
Nope.
Box lunches,
Write-ups.
write-ups. It's a lot. It's just a lot that goes into the whole system. And again, I just ask you all to be patient with any CTA personnel because it is a lot that you guys don't know about. And CTA will tell you that we don't want to come to work. Because, to be honest, if you look at the overtime, you can tell we want to come to work because some operators make $200,000 and almost $300,000, so they gotta want to come to work, and they're not with their families. So I just ask you guys to be patient with us because we are really trying.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Andre Thompson, and I would like to say I have more experience working for the CTA than everybody up here except Kathy. But I have a little more experience with than Kathy with far as dealing with the union, because she was never a union rep, so I was. So I kind of saw a lot of stuff, and I was involved in a lot of stuff. And all these people here together today coming up here, their involvement brought us here today. Just like your involvement brought us all here together today. You know, all these people, they felt something was wrong. And same with Eric and all these other people. We all came together because there was something wrong. So I just want everybody to have the understanding that CTA used to be a good job. I am 59. I left when I was 57. And when I was 57, I had 34 years on the bus, only the bus. I never worked any place else, never supervisor, never manager. So I got a lot of experience on the streets. And to be honest, it was really fun coming to work when I first started. I looked forward to going to work every day. I was young, it was fun. The CTA kind of look out for their employees. People would want to quit when I first started. The manager would beg them to stay. Now, it's a total flip. The managers, just like Robert said, the managers they get $100,000 a year, and their only job is to terrorize the employees, to fire them, to make them uncomfortable. And it didn't used to be like that when I started. And one of the reasons I left, just like Nicole said, and I think some other people might have said, safety. By the time I got into my later years, I mean, I might look a little young, but it was rough getting up, coming to work every day. I was in the South Side, driving the bus, and it was always concerned about my safety. And I knew CTA didn't care. I knew the managers didn't care. You know, we used to protect ourselves, but it got to the point where if you do anything arbitrary, they trying to fine you. So you couldn't really protect yourself. So it was getting rough coming to work every day. And one of the reasons I left, because I was like kind of young. I was 57. I had like 34 time years. I kind of wanted to still work, but I didn't like coming to work. I saw a death. I saw a person get killed on the bus, not on the bus, but they was minding their business on the street, but they got killed in front of the bus. And then one of the persons that hit them and killed the person started shooting. So that was a traumatic experience for me. On top of getting up every day, I just couldn't do it no more. So I feel for anybody that still work there because it's like she's at her end, he's at his end, but the other guys, they may be in the middle. The hardest part of the job was not the passengers. I feel for the passengers because at this time and date, I would say safety was like the number one thing for me because if I didn't like riding the train, because we have to ride trains to get to our buses sometimes. I could imagine the passengers riding the train and some of the devices that, you know, the CTA had to make it safe didn't make any sense to me. You know, like they had guards with a $100,000 contract that couldn't communicate to the police. You know, they were just in the way. And me and Eric would talk about one of the things that makes CTA safer is more eyes, more CTA workers. But instead of that, they trying to fire the workers. So it was just getting really rough, and I just couldn't take it no more, and I had to leave after I saw the death. You know, I saw a lot of stuff coming through the bus, but it wasn't so bad like it is now, because every day, you know, I come to work, Nicole, Uber Light, Kathy, Robert, they were still on you know, the other guys, they working inside, they work on the train, so they probably don't have to deal with the public as much as we do. So it was just getting rough, and I couldn't understand why the CTA will make some of the decisions they make. And I would say to everybody, keep coming together, because when I started with trying to get involved with just me and Eric, and look how it has grown to employees, to people, we all got to stick together to make this work better. So I want everybody to keep doing what you're doing on that end. Keep calling your senators, your state reps, everybody. Keep up with what's going on. The employees are going through hell. It's not a good job anymore. It used to be, but it's not. I feel for anybody that's left. I hated I had to leave, but just like Sister Nicole said, it's getting rough every day. You know, so I just want everybody to say, I want to say thank you for coming out and keep telling people about what's going on. Keep fighting.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Eric Slater. I'm just going to make two main points. But the first one I want you to do is, when you think about Chicago Transit Authority and PACE workers, really the working class in general, I actually want this in your mind. This is a pretty good cross-section of maintenance workers, frontline bus operators, rail workers here. And you got to be impressed. This is really an elite part of society. It is not a downtrodden people who are just stepped on and have no choice. And I think this is broadly true in the working class, but it's particularly the case in the Chicago Transit Authority. That's my one main point. I started about 19 years ago as a bus operator, and immediately I joined up with Howard over here and did the Rider Driver Alliance, did the Chicago Transit Workers Council, Andre, and many other workers. We met off property because CTA wouldn't let us on property. And then with Andre, we came in when they took our union out of trusteeship. We both became board members elected by our coworkers. We were bus operators. And that really grew me up. Being Eric's a board member now, it really grew me up because I had to defend my coworkers against management. I had to help try to keep us together the best we could with all our divisions. And I really became very, very clear to me that it was the elite, it was the section of society that was ready to rule now, right? This group of people, a couple other dozen perhaps, more will come up and struggle. We're ready to run the Chicago Transit Authority now.
That's right.
We would do it better than all these people do in 2 weeks.
That's right.
We would do it cheaper.
That's right.
We would do it safer. So all this trying to reform all this stuff, who's going to run it, whether it's the downstate politicians or it's going to be something else, that it's completely false. We need to be thinking about more of a revolution within public transportation. But that doesn't mean it's upside down. Our union needs to be turned upside down, for instance.
That's right.
We got the company has its teeth completely in control, especially 241, also 308. A bunch of people here are trying to fight to allow the workers' union to be controlled by the workers.
That's right.
Not by management.
That's right.
And they've been going after us, right? As you've been saying, I was fired twice.
You know, several
Yep.
people involved with fire
I
departments.
got two
Okay.
suspensions.
Right, and all
Yep.
of our coworkers are attacked when we try to defend them. Okay, so it requires a consciousness within the population, especially the working class population, that we can do this, right? It's not just getting rid of some managers and getting some new managers, but that we can do it ourselves. The second, I just want to give a shout out to the coworker who talked about ICE. Immediately, I know we don't have control of our unions at this point, the ranks don't, but immediately we can be demanding that we have protocol when we're driving that train or driving that bus and they try to grab somebody on the bus, right? And they need to have a warrant that's signed, etc. And we need to get as much people there as possible as quickly so they don't take our brothers away who don't have papers. And I said a bunch of things, but the main thing is when you think about the CTA workers, don't think about somebody who's just doesn't have a place to go to the bathroom. That's true. Think about us as leaders that can run the Chicago Transit Authority and really all of society.
Eric just made me think about something that I didn't get a chance to tell you all. As I was just trying to earn a living.
Sorry, my fault.
Hello? Okay.
Sorry.
I forgot to mention to you all, when I was just trying to work at the CTA and get involved, I had went through a lot of stuff within the company. And I meant to tell you all that. During me trying to work and get involved, because I got involved and started seeing things, I ended up being threatened by the union on a regular basis. I ended up being jumped on by officers in a union meeting where I was brutally attacked by 3 guys, had to call the police. I ended up being sued by the union president for speaking out, and I ended up being suspended.
That's right.
For just like him, I ended up being suspended, set up within the conference of the training room where you have a break, and I would end up suspended. So I had went through a lot just to try to get involved, and this is what happened when you get involved. It's not an easy road, but we got to keep fighting. I went through all that, and I stayed. And I stayed. When I say I stayed getting involved. I didn't quit. I didn't cower under the union leadership or management. I just stayed involved. I got better at my job. I was so good at my job, they couldn't fire me. Because they would have fired me like they did him. But I ended up learning all the rules, all the regulations. I knew how to protect myself. And I knew I was being watched by the cameras all the time. I knew the union was going, if I get in trouble, I knew the union was going to make sure I got fired like they did with him. That's all you got to do is slip, and they're going to come get you. Yep. That's what kind of conditions we work under here.
That's right.
So that's all I wanted to say.
Real quick, Eric, Eric Slater, you have, make this part real brief, but let everybody know about your hearing coming up, about your termination, and where and when, okay?
Yeah. Yes, so can you hear me? Yeah, I was as a board member, I was a 3rd term elected board member of the Amalgamated Trades Union Local 241. When George Floyd was murdered, we had a board meeting. Our board voted to support another local 1005 in resisting transporting police on using the Chicago Transit Authority, which is directly relevant right now with ICE and also the National Guard. I went out and did what I did hundreds of times as a board member. I went out to the parking lot, this was right in the middle of the pandemic, and led a meeting of about 25 workers. I simply read the position of the international president, which was a pretty good position at that time. It said, you have the right to work in safe working conditions. If you're going to be driving the Chicago Police Department into battle zones, that may or may not be safe. If you don't feel safe, you can stop by, you can let your employer know. That's the law. And for asking my coworkers whether it was safe, whether they felt safe driving the buses, Management came out, called me an idiot. I said, go check the law. You can't interfere in our union meeting, right, which we're having. And he says, you an idiot, called the police and fired me on the spot. And he did. They called the police multiple times, dozens of times. I ran into the president. Remember, they brought Chicago Police Department, came over to remove me. And so briefly, we've been through several fights, and it looks like we're going to finally get a ruling from the Labor Board, the Illinois Public Labor Relations Board, which is meeting in a couple days. On the 23rd, you can write this down, 23rd of October, 10 a.m. at 160 North LaSalle Street. It's the 4th floor, room S401. We're not asking for people to disrupt the meeting. We're asking people to speak during public comment and to be present. If you got uniform, a CTA, something like that, this is the time to make it clear that the Illinois, basically it's this, that workers have a right to talk with each other. We have a right to organize with each other on the property, not just in our homes or our union meetings, but actually in our workplace. I led many hundreds of meetings, so did you, at the workplace, because we have a union and they can't just push back. The management tells us what to do at all times. We have our own views and we have the right to speak about them together, and that's a law in Illinois. And so we're trying to defend some of the workers' rights. So please come out on that day on the 23rd and defend the rights of working people.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for sharing all of your stories.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but
Okay.
you got an employees? Come. You worked at CTA?
Okay.
Well, she's gonna get to that. She's gonna get to that in a second.
Yeah, really quickly.
Hang on, she's
Okay.
getting there. Samantha's getting there. She got the agenda. Hold on, everybody. It's coming.
Yeah, like I said, thank you so much for sharing all of your stories. I think hearing about your experiences with, safety on the job and how that's deteriorated and how it's likely going to get worse, and as this administration progresses and the CTA, or as the transit agencies respond as they do. I know we were talking about politicians earlier, but we did have Alderman Laspada on the call earlier, and he did have to hop off some previously, but he did say that as an elder person and as a daily CTA writer, one, thank you all for sharing your stories, well, thank you for all that you do, and then also thank you for sharing your stories so that he can better advocate as a member of City Council to address working conditions and get the compensation that you deserve. I want to agree with that. And, I think before we get into the Q&A, we're at almost 3 p.m. I guess the one other question I wanted to ask before we get into the Q&A is just, we mentioned safety, we mentioned just the state of all of the just disinvestment throughout the years, and also the ways that management and leadership fights against letting the workers, talk to each other. Okay. I guess I just wanted to ask, just for the rest of the, this year and in your future, what would you like to see? What sort of organizing would you like to see to better support workers, to make sure that they can organize, to make sure that, because like you said, we want a revolution, but we need steps to get there. So it's in the short term, how can we as CTA riders who are also concerned about safety, efficiency, and making sure that everybody has a fair chance. I guess in the short term, how can we address that as writers?
I got it.
But Chris has the mic.
Yeah, right there.
I think with a big concern, a lot of us are pretty solid as far as years and that sort of thing, but with the funding, what I'm finding is when I read articles from Philly, I read articles from DC, concerning transit and their fiscal cliffs, is that they're talking about the money, they're talking about waiting until things happen, and here, we got thrown right in there. Layoffs was the first word they spoke from the union and from the company. And I think we really have to address that. That's my biggest thing. Once again, I don't think it's going to affect me as directly as some of the younger, less seniority people, but they just keep throwing that out there. And we have such high turnover. The turnover is ridiculous. And they're replacing full-time jobs with part-time jobs.
That's right.
How can you be understaffed and talk about a layoff before you even get your funding? That's the question that needs to be asked. How do you talk about a layoff and you haven't even got the funding yet? You're talking about cutting service? Well, from if you stop hiring from here to there, you'd probably be back down below what your layoff would equate. It's as horrible a place it is to work right now.
I got laid off along with some other people. It was in a contract dispute, but I was called back. And times were different then, of course. The economy was different. It wasn't as bad as it is now. But I think they talk about layoffs right off the bat because they want to intimidate people, just like ICE. They want to intimidate people. They do not want the bus drivers and the train operators, the mechanics, to go on strike. We have not been on strike since 1979.
That's right.
We need a strike. And that would be a good way everybody could support us, support a strike. And,
Yeah.
And we could, if we could organize other people to strike, someday it'll happen.
Well, I know with all the cuts they're talking about, and the first thing they do is say layoffs, but the CTA is a different place now. Like, I started in 1997. And I think at that time it was a pretty good CTA. It wasn't the best, but it was okay. We all managed. But I think what CTA lost its ways is the investment in their employees.
That's
because
right.
the turnover rate is crazy. Some people come and they go through the training, and they can't take it because it's a real hard job. Believe it or not, it's really hard to work for CTA. Not only to get to work to deal with the managers, but then to come out and deal with the public. To do our job is very hard. So they need to invest in their employees, and they do not. It's like, for some training, they give you a paper. Here, read this, and go do this. They need to do better. And that's on all levels, even if it's dealing with the public. They have a lot of training programs, they do, but they need more. I don't know exactly what it is they need, but they need to invest in their employees so they can come to work, so we can get all these buses and trains on the street, as they say, the employees don't come to work. So I think the first thing, they need to stop talking about layoffs and invest in what they already have here, and they don't.
Well, okay. Far as the funding, the fiscal cliff, Eric probably can talk about this too. It's a scam. It's money. It's always been money for transit. They got money for wars.
That's right.
They got money to do all this stuff to people. They got money to fund ICE.
Yep.
The fiscal cliff ain't nothing but bullshit.
Woo!
It just is. It just is. It's something to create, to cause a frenzy, cause the workers to get all uptight. The way I was thinking about it, I welcome it. Lay me off, because guess what? They ain't got nobody to lay off. They ain't got nobody. They can't get the buses out. When they had the last layoff, when I was employed, I didn't get laid off because I had too much time. But they laid the part-time off, and guess what? They had to bring them right back because they ain't got nobody to work. And then the part-time, they barely paying them, So they had the best of both worlds. It's something that they create for all the politicians to like get together and just create more havoc for the people, the poor people in the neighborhoods. You know, the money is there. The money always been there. You know, just look at the deficit. So I don't buy into fiscal cliff when you can fund all these wars. You know, stop these wars or stop whatever's going on and take care of the people here. Look at the budget to have these guys to sit around. They ain't solving no crime. They got hundreds of millions of dollars going towards that.
Trillion.
So I don't buy into that.
Trillion.
People need to stand up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to mention something. Don't get confused. When we talk about funding, there are two kinds of funding: the capital projects and then the operation. Where we have problem is the operation, not the capital funding. You can see CTA is building everything you can even think of. So they have the money for the capital projects. Now, when it comes to operation, there are problems there. The heterogenical error from the CTA management can never be undermined until a restructure is done. Carefully watch the CTA management. All they are doing is hiring their friends with a lot of money, hiring more than they should. Some of them have no idea what their job status are. What they are doing is wandering and grabbing all this money. The state knows that. The state knows that. I think at this point, if we don't take action, we may end up having no CTA. Because without the CTA operators, there will be no job. So all those people they're hiring, they just start from laying them off first before they start thinking about the operators. We are the ones doing the job. It's like in one time you said, rock Peter to pay Paul. Monkey did work, bamboo the job. We are the ones doing the job, and they are the ones embezzling the money. So what we need in Chicago Transit is a restructure of the board. Restructure CTA with a non-profit organizations, people who are interested in what is going on in the city. If I'm not mistaken, I think we are the second or the third largest transit, industry within the country. I mean, see, even within the world. But when you come to the management aspect of it, I know some managers who have no idea what this job entails. What they do is being on the street and keep writing, people off. Let me give you one instance. I had a student I was training one time on diversity. Very early in the morning, I get to the bus stop, I instructed the students to pull on the side to pick up a student. And then I saw this gentleman dressed nice. You would think he's okay. The next thing he did was he pulled up his gun and shot the guy in front of me. The guy fell. And then I have almost like 65% passengers on the bus. So what I did was I said, everybody lie down, everybody lie down. I was the only one standing up. And the guy didn't run away, he was looking at me. So I could have been the next victim. But because of my experience dealing with people, I did not do anything, I did not frighten him. So he was staring at me for a few seconds, then he left. And at that point, I had to call in, and then the management and the police came and took all of us straight to the hospital. And as far as I'm concerned, my mind was going, different angles. But you can imagine that the manager who intervened on the situation didn't believe they should take me out of the bus. They believe that I should continue to work.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, when I looked a little bit, about his profile, this guy had no CDL. I've never driven a bus, even for one day. So you can understand what we are dealing with.
Yep.
Okay? Now, 2 weeks after then, I was at the garage, and I saw about 5 young girls, and, came into the garage to talk to us about safety. Probably they were about 21, 2018. When I looked at them, I said, to be able to have a CDL, you should be at least 21 years old. When I looked at them, I asked them, do you guys have CDL? They said, no. You don't have CDL? They said, yes. And you came to the garage to tell us about safety, on how to drive the bus. So a little bit findings that I made, I discovered that they came in from, from those WYZ up there with rich salaries. It's a shame. Things need to be changed.
Okay.
So we have, just so you know, the elevator's working now, okay? So if you need that elevator, it's back up. And then when you get to the questions and the answers, we're kind of running short on time. So if all the panelists could just abbreviate just a little bit, but still speak your heart. But we want to make sure that the questions.
So is there a hard stop at 3:30? Because this is open till 5 o'clock.
We have this particular room for another 20 minutes that we have to tear down. The office time is not the same as the time we have the room for.
Yeah. So somebody else.
We just don't have it reserved for the whole, for all the hours.
Unless you want to go downstairs and talk to them, I don't know. But unfortunately, we only got about 20 minutes. Yeah.
All right, so okay, so we're at 3:10, 3:11, so we'll go ahead and get into our Q&A. So what you can do is, mic is on, so you could go ahead, you can line up.
Arthur.
Oh, face it this way.
The elevator, face the elevator. Yeah.
So you could come up, and if you have a question, just come up to the mic and.
Could I read our pre-submitted question first?
Oh, yes, sure.
So we had one question that was pre-submitted before. This is for any panelists can answer this. It is, what are immediate actions that can be taken to ensure rider safety on Chicago Transit? Anyone want to speak to that?
Yeah, I think it may cost more money, but that's the only solution. Each bus, each train card should have a Chicago police officer right there.
So,
Can I answer as well?
and we have a diversity of opinions here. This should be interesting.
Okay, another option, and I do think we should open up to the public in a second. But another option is to have a second union worker on the bus.
That's right.
They have this in other countries, and I've been in Brazil to have it. I don't think the police are going to help us make the safety. Another thing we can do is, I know we don't control our unions right now, which we're working on it, but immediately we can do text message trees and prepare with the public and other organizations like the ones represented here to say that the next time another bus operator, another rail worker, or otherwise is attacked, is assaulted on the bus or otherwise in the garage, like you're saying, right? The buses don't move the next day, right? Then that makes clear, right, to the public that this is serious. Our health matters. Now, if we're able to take back our unions, even much more powerful. So it's that serious of an emergency. It has been for several years. But until we actually organize to stop the buses and trains, the violence is going to continue.
Just go up to the mic there. You can ask your question. Right here, sir. Right here.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Howard Ehrman. I was born in 1947, the same year as the CTA. First thing the CTA did is double the fare from a nickel to a dime and cut 35% of all service, rail and bus service. We're standing a couple blocks from the green and pink line, and I think the first thing is to put out to everybody here, we need to do exactly what this is done today in as many different public libraries or other places as possible in those neighborhoods that have the highest rate of riders that are not optional. I'm now an optional rider, right? My father worked at Fort Torrance from 45 to 61. We couldn't afford a car till after that. So all we knew was the CTA. So I think it'd be a shame to have all these great words and feelings basically just sit here in this library. We got to do this all over the city, particularly on the south side and the west side, where up to 50 to 60 or 70% of people in those neighborhoods, including mine, Little Village, North Lawndale, they have to take the CTA. They don't have a car. So that's number one. Number two is we're sitting a few blocks from a major victory in 1995 to 2005. Bell Tower, who was the CTA chief, if you remember, in 1992, made an announcement standing next to Richard M. Daley, we are going to completely tear down the green line. And then we're going to completely tear down what now is the pink line. People organized with the workers in both locals, 241 and 308, all along the green line, all along the pink line churches. We have the North Lawndale Little Village Coalition of 35 organizations, and that's why the green line and pink line are still standing. So we've got to see that victories are possible. And the last thing is everybody needs to support Eric at the hearing, because a victory for one is a victory for all.
That's right.
And if you're going to have any rights, both as workers and retirees, Eric's got to win that battle.
That's right.
So I'm Howard Ehrman. I'm with the People's Response Network. I'm the former co-founder of the Little Village Environmental Justice Organization. We were part of this fight, and we all know how to get victories.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you. So any other?
Oh, just one other announcement.
Anybody who has a question, please come up.
Next month, everybody's invited to the 50th anniversary celebration of the longest doctor strike in U.S. history at Cook County Hospital. We're going to be showing films. If you know of a location we can do this, or more than one, let us know.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, anybody else have a question, please line up at the mic.
Hi, my name's Ellie. I ride the bus to work every day. I work at a CPS high school. Almost all of my students use public transit to get to work. I help them apply to college. Many of them stay in the city. And having like a functional, accessible CTA is crucial to like first generation students going to college. So I just want to say I appreciate all of you and all of the work that goes into like helping students like advance their future, and I've seen that in my own work. And I just feel like I've learned so much in the past hour from your individual stories, and like I'm ashamed to say that when I take the bus every day, I'm not thinking about the engineers, I'm not thinking about mechanics, I'm not thinking about who is cleaning the facilities that I'm using, and I think that's totally intentional. I think, Nicole, like I was really struck about how you said one of like management's solutions to safety is having like a computer announce, don't go in front of the bus. Like there's so much technology that is trying to limit interaction between riders and employees and the people actually like operating these vehicles, and I think that's because they know how powerful it is for us to communicate and for us riders to hear your stories. And I think I've heard so much about how you guys are thinking about our safety, but we're not thinking about yours every day, and I think again that's totally intentional. And I think like that's something that really needs to be changed. And I think, you know, this is such a great space, but this is a small group of writers and people who are hearing your stories, and it sounds like all of you have really been censored and like are risking your jobs potentially to be here with us, and that's a huge problem. So I'm just wondering, like from your perspective, like what are ways that we can advocate for you? Like again, I think it's a good idea to have more of these events in different libraries, but that's asking more of your time and asking you to continue to risk your jobs, to use your voices. Like what can we do to be a voice for you, even if that's day to day, like having more interaction or like bringing more awareness, like what in your experience has worked or do you think will work to continue to build that relationship?
So thank you. And you know what you can do? Real quick. Join the Fix the CTA campaign, come on to the Chicago DSA, because that's part of the campaign. Get involved, because some of us here, me included, are knee deep in it. And we will plug you in. We will help you understand that it is, well, funding, yes, we need to fund it, but we need to defund the CTA mismanagement. And you are critical to that. So thank you for writing. Thank you for caring. We care about you, every single one of us. Come on down and ask your question.
Hi, my name is Ray Burkett. I'm a journeyman electrician, and something that I'd like to see change, and I'd like to know your opinion on, like, I don't know, what we'd be able to do to get it to change is the rampant double parking I see all across Chicago. I want to just flip the cars over and burn them and take their license, get off the road.
Is that a question or a comment? What do we do?
I think you just keep complaining because that's a big thing. They have all type of programs, again, reactive instead of proactive. They're supposed to write tickets for people who double park. They're supposed to do a lot of things, and it's not getting done. It's also interfering with us getting down the street. That's another thing that why we can't get down the street on time, because of all the double park cars and all that. So just keep complaining to the CTA. You know, maybe they'll come up and listen to you guys, so they don't listen to us. We complain all the time, like there's vehicles parked in the bus stop. The elderly can't get on. They're complaining because we're in the street. But, you know, we got a 60 or 42 or 60 feet bus. We can't, you know, pull in there. So just keep complaining. I think right now, keep complaining to them. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
I want to say to that, they have did something about that. They've come up with a pilot program where they have automated cameras on city vehicles that police or that ride by bike lanes, bus lanes, and bus stops. And if the camera sees you in the section that you're not supposed to be in for a certain amount of time, the camera automatically records your license plate and send you a ticket in the mail. I think that's great, but we need to put those type of cameras on the buses itself, because all day long, people are parking in bus stops and bus lanes. And even if they have a bus, like they had a bus lanes on Chicago Avenue, they have some on 79th Street, some people don't care. They just park anywhere. Ubers, DoorDash. I don't know how many tickets they've given out since that pilot program started, but it has started.
Okay. We got it. Can we just get the next question, and maybe if we have some time, because we only got like 5 minutes. So come on. Yeah.
Alrighty, I'll be quick then. So it sounds like just about everybody here can point to 20 different ways you could improve how the CTA is functioning. So I guess, let's say in 6 months you're able to build up enough union cohesion and you guys declare a strike. What is one or two ways that, if you were to do a strike, one or two demands that you think would go the most towards fixing the sort of systemic mismanagement of the CTA?
Very simple. Restructure CTA board. Everything starts from the top. When you get it up, then you get it down. You have to restructure CTA administration. Once that is done with the professionals, every other thing will be okay.
I'm kind of not sure if, I'm pretty sure. I don't agree with, it's the managers, it's the mismanagement. Yeah, the mismanagement. There's some ignorant people who don't know what they're doing, but their purpose, I believe, has been to dismantle the CTA, to help it to fall apart, to create the conditions that cause people to quit and helps to cause accidents and harm, because they would like to privatize the CTA, and that's what they do to institutions that they want to privatize. They destroy them first, and then they say, hey, look, the management, they can't do it, so let's give it to these businessmen. They can do it. So I'm not sure how we fix that in this society that's kind of falling apart. A lot of stuff is falling apart. But I think if we got a strike, if we had a strike and people went out and we won some things like, say, no more part-time jobs, the wages that keep up with inflation. And it's been proven that if people like CTA workers, union workers get higher pay, that filters down to non-union workers. It raises the rate wages of everybody. So, you know, it's a big process.
Yep.
Real quick, can I just say something
Regarding strikes, so right now, me included, we still work at the CTA, and according to CTA General Rule Book, it is a violation that can cause us to be suspended or terminated if we organize a wildcat strike. I'm telling you the rules. I'm a union steward. You understand my point? Nobody here is organizing, is calling for a strike. Nobody here is calling for a strike. I'm not calling for a strike. But we hear you. The membership of our unions must vote for that. Okay, not us. We're just here. We're just workers. And I already got like 1 foot out the door already with suspensions, and he's already fired for, they say, organizing a wildcat, and it didn't happen. So I just want to put that out there because we got people watching this. We got managers and stuff watching this. So,
thank you. Okay, cool.
Just real quick, the big thing about job actions, mass actions, historically, not just here at CTA, is building up the organizational strength and confidence of the people who do it. That's really the main goal. So I think the Justice Coalition has put out a pretty good group of demands. I generally agree with them. Things like, an operator on each of the rail cars, a second worker on the buses, especially on those that are more violent. Things like sick days for all of us, and basic stuff, pay parity among the maintenance workers. The things that workers have been demanding every time the union officials give us a piece of paper and say, what do you want? We say it loud and clear, and not only do they not listen to that stuff, they don't really mobilize the population, nor workers, nor the working class generally, to have a real struggle with the ruling class in Chicago. And that's what it would be. It wouldn't just be us as transit workers. It would be the whole working class, or we'd get our butts kicked. And it's better to do it, like Eric said, through the organization of our unions. It means taking them back, of turning them upside down so the ranks actually control them, and letting the ranks of the unions decide how, and actually lead the strike if there was one.
Okay, Samantha. Thank you.
All right, we have a few questions from the chat. And just for clarification, we do have this room past 3:30, so we'll be okay.
Sorry, everybody. I was like doing all these symbols to you guys.
Yeah, we have one person. Let's see. So one person asks, there is a state road fund that labor unions, which are needed the most now, are opposing based on what was researched. Can anybody on this panel speak to that? There is a state road fund that I guess is being proposed that labor unions, which are needed now, are opposing. And I guess this person is wondering if any of y'all could speak to that. If you're...
I don't think we could speak to it because we're just hearing about it today, and to get information like that, we have to research it ourselves. Our union don't provide it to us. So anything that they're liking or disliking, we really don't know about it. So just hearing about it, we can do a little research and find out about it. But as of now, I don't have any knowledge on that, and I don't know if you guys do. I don't think so. So we would have to look into it. We're just regular union members who's fighting our union to get the information. They just do what they want to do. But we can look into it. We would be glad to look into it and get it back to them.
Okay. I guess the other question in the chat right now is how can writers help reclaim the local unions from the management and help support making them bottom up rather than top down, which I think we've kind of spoken to a little bit, but if anybody has anything else to add.
Keep coming. Join the campaign.
Well, they can get involved like we have as CTA workers. And, you know, our union is not interested in doing any type of mass action. They had a mass action last week for the first time since 2021. They had one action last week. And they didn't even promote it. They didn't even tell the workers. And we knew it was a CTA approved protest
yes, it was.
Because all the flunkies were down there. All the top officials were down there. There were no police at this protest.
Yep.
So that's why we know it was approved by CTA.
Yes, sir.
Well, CTA does have a CTA hotline, and I don't believe that's just for complaints and accommodations. I would ask the riders and the customers and the public just report the things you see on the bus or the train. Just report it like if you're unhappy with the operator's performance, the way you report those things, report the things that you see on the train and the bus. Because we report them and nothing happens. So maybe if you guys start reporting, maybe they'll be a little bit more considerate.
If you need a job or family and friends need a job, apply to the CTA and help organize. That'd be good.
Could I say something real quick? Okay, so if you see the operator or the servicer and maybe they dozed off for a second or they look kind of crabby, please don't call them in. We're not talking about that. She's talking about defects. Somebody's selling drugs in the station, whatever, but please don't telling us, because they're probably working overtime and they just dozed off for a minute. And you just say, hey, are you okay? Because maybe they're having a stroke or a heart attack. Because that's what we do, because we come to work sick.
I also call in good drive.
Thank
We as bus operators have no paid sick leave, believe it or not. The management does, but the frontline workers that drive the trains and buses don't. So if you see us sick, crappy, try to work with us as best as you can. If you see a CSA or somebody in the booth nodding off, they're probably working a double shift.
Yep.
Because their relief didn't come to work, and the station cannot be without a worker in it. So they have to stay no matter what. So if they doze off, you see them doze off at the station. Try to work with us. We're human, we're not robots.
Thank you. Okay. We got a question. Dr. Irvin here.
I don't want to take up too much space, but I want to make a proposal. How many people here have a family member or a friend who's a Chicago public student in high school? Raise your hand. So how many people know that Los Angeles and New York, for years, for decades, have free transit for every high school student? Not just when they're going to and from school, but 24/7 during the week and a lot of times on the weekend. How many people know that?
Nope.
If you want to get a lot of allies, there's 100,000 CPS high school students, including my granddaughter at Kelly. If you want to get a lot of allies, raise the banner for free transit for CPS high school students. And you'll get lots of allies at every high school. This is a really concrete proposal. And the second concrete proposal, with all due respect to you, sir, is that the studies are in all over the world. If you put conductors back on the train,
that's right.
That is 10 times more effective than a cop who's going to arrest the wrong people.
That's right.
So that demand, that happened, what was that, 20, 25 years ago under Daley?
30.
That was the worst thing the CTA did in terms of, if you don't feel safe on a train, then get conductors back on the train.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me, I just got to say something.
Yeah.
I stumbled into this meeting quite by accident. I came because Morse does not have handicap accessible, okay? All right? A former CTA employee I am. I was terminated, okay? And I just want to say, if each one of us in here would get the number of the drivers and the workers, call in when you see them doing good. You know, I always do that. And I want to thank you guys. Them turns you guys make, God bless you. You okay? But please, let's get handicap accessible and more. But I was a former CTA employee when it was safe. God bless you. Thank you.
Yeah, ADA. What is with the CTA? The American with Disabilities Act. When did it pass? 1989. Who was born before that time? Yeah, look at us, like 3 of us, right? What the hell is wrong with these people that they won't make the stations ADA compliant? They're wasting money on crap. And all you got to do is look at the RTA budgets and you'll see they're wasting money on surveillance cameras. Pizza. $14,000 of pizza for 2024. 15 million for surveillance cameras on trains that already have it. We could go on and on and on. The ADA, what the CTA mismanagement has done with the ADA is disgusting. And everybody should be in the streets demanding that these stations be properly renovated. Thank you.
All right, one more question.
Hi everyone, I don't have a question, but just for all of the riders here, if you could take out your phones, the CTA hotline is 888-986-7282, and you should put it in your phone so that when you see good things happening with the drivers, when you see bad things happening with just people around the buses and trains and stuff, you can call and you're ready and you know the number. So repeating the number is 888-986-7282. I just want to say thank you all for your time. It's been lovely learning and hearing from all of you.
Thank you for coming.
All right. Any more questions in the room? I'm checking online. Going on. Yeah, so I'm going to share some slides. Hold on one second. But yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for all of you who came today to speak to your experiences as CTA workers. I think everybody who showed up today got a lot out of this conversation just to hear that perspective. I think that, yeah, we have a lot of good next steps. All right, so if you go back to the additional links, yeah. Yeah, that's okay. So I mentioned a few events coming up. So the one that's not up there, but that are on the slides, which Eric mentioned just now, is the Illinois labor hearing on Monday, October 23rd. It's at 10 a.m. at 160 LaSalle Street in room S401. You do have to go through security. The next DSA action, the next Illinois DSA action is a lobby day, so our state legislators are getting back into session in October, this month, in a week, or this week, I think. And so a few folks from Illinois DSA chapters across Illinois are going down to Springfield to bring up a lot of these issues that we've heard today, a lot of concerns about fiscal cliff, and we'll be making our voices known there. And yeah, I guess I can add the CTA hotline to that as well. Great, so yeah, that's it. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your questions. Thank you all for your stories. We have on the next slide just ways to keep in touch with us. So we have a little bit of the work that I didn't mention, but we have been writing letters to our elected officials all summer to ensure that they, when they return, that they fully fund the CTA. So you can go to a petition or a link with a petition there. We also have our WhatsApp link, and then a link to the workers that you heard from, part of the Chicago Transit Justice Coalition.